the title of our webinar is Caring for Someone with Dementia. We know it's a tough job, but we are here to help. So we just want to kind of go through what we have to offer here with Aging and Adult Services. So I thought to start off with that I would kind of go through exactly, see, I'm already messing up, what dementia is for those that maybe don't know. So dementia is a collective name for brain syndromes which affect our memory, thinking, behavior, and our emotions. It is the leading cause of disability and dependency among the elderly. Dementia knows no social, economic, or ethnic boundaries. And some of the early symptoms of dementia can include difficulty performing familiar tasks, memory loss, problem with language, and change in personality. So I am a statistics person. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but I'm always fascinated by truth and what we have to back that up. So some statistics that I found about dementia is currently is estimated to be over 55 million people worldwide that are living with dementia. 6 million of those are Americans, and it's projected to rise to nearly 13 million by the year 2050. So that's a substantial amount of individuals that are suffering with this disease. A new case of dementia arises somewhere in the world every 3 seconds. There's 355 billion is the cost of dementia in our nation each year. And 1 in 3 seniors dies with a form of dementia, Alzheimer's being the highest. And this is higher than deaths from both breast cancer and prostate cancer combined. So that's a huge amount. And almost 80% of the general public are concerned about developing dementia. So it's definitely something we are concerned about. Some statistics that I found about dementia caregivers. More than 11 million Americans provide unpaid care for people with dementia. In 2020, these caregivers provided an estimated 15.3 billion hours of care, which is valued to be at nearly $257 billion. So that is a lot of care and money that is being spent on dementia patients. 83% of the help provided to older adults in the United States comes from family members, friends, or other unpaid caregivers. And nearly half of all caregivers provide care for someone living with dementia. So that also is just a huge amount. So who are some of these caregivers? So about 1 in 3 caregivers is age 65 or older. There is approximately 2/3 of caregivers are women. And of those, 1/3 of those dementia caregivers are daughters. So that's a big kind of a strain, or I can't come up with the word, for daughters of parents that possibly are going to have dementia. 66% of caregivers live with the person that's dealing with dementia. And I also found this a little shocking. Approximately 1/4 of dementia caregivers are what we call the sandwich generation. So that means they're caring for an older parent as well as children under the age of 18. So that's a lot on their plate. And of the unpaid Alzheimer's and dementia caregivers, 86% have provided care for at least the past year, and half have been providing care for 4 or more years. So that's a huge amount of time that they're spending. So some of the results of dementia caregiving, which is why we're talking about it today, is over 50% of caregivers say their health has suffered as a result of the responsibilities that they're required for the dementia sufferers. But they still express the positive sentiments about their role as a caregiver. An estimated $9.7 billion in healthcare costs, and this is for 2014, for dementia caregivers was spent because of the physical and emotional impact. 40 to 70% of family dementia caregivers have clinically significant symptoms of depression, And family caregivers of people with dementia are at greater risk of anxiety, depression, and poor quality of life. It's a little depressing, actually, but we can help. So that's what we're going to talk a little bit about today. We at Aging and Adult Services have numerous ways that we can help. We're going to talk about two of our biggest that we have. The first, I'm going to talk about two of the new dementia classes that we offer here in health promotion. And then I'll be turning over the time to Kathy, who's going to talk about some of the caregiving support programs that we have. So we're going to go ahead and get going on the two classes. So like I guess Paige didn't mention, she just mentioned the one that I'm over, but we have two classes. We have the first one, which is Dementia Dialogues. And this is an evidence-based workshop, and it's designed for caregivers of people who are starting to exhibit signs and symptoms of the Alzheimer's disease or dementia. So not necessarily do you have to have a diagnosis, but when you start seeing kind of memory loss, things that kind of are it's concerning to you, this is a great class to take. In this class, you learn more about Alzheimer's and dementia, kind of what happens and that the brain actually changes. Some coping skills, and biggest thing I feel like is that you're not alone. There's the statistics that I've shown, there's a lot of caregivers that are in your same situation. So this particular class is a 5-week class, and it's broken into 5 different areas that are talked about. So the first week is it just kind of gives an overview about Alzheimer's and dementia. For those that didn't know, dementia is kind of the umbrella, and Alzheimer's is a type of dementia. There are other types of dementia as well. The second week, we talk about different strategies for effective communication. Communication is one thing that really changes when your loved one has dementia and Alzheimer's. And so there are different ways and strategies that we can learn to better express our feelings and better understand and communicate with those loved ones. The third week is understanding the environment and promoting independence. I think that's one thing with dementia and Alzheimer's. Sometimes it's easier for us to want to do things for them, but they still want their independence and they still want to do things on their own. And so there's different ways that you can go about that. And so it's just a great information to kind of explain that and give ideas of how to do that. The fourth week is addressing challenging behaviors. This is also a really difficult thing with dementia. Like I mentioned before, the brain changes and it actually can change someone's personalities, which in turn can change behaviors. And so in this class, it will talk about different ways that you can help with these behaviors. For example, dressing. Maybe you might have a loved one who insists on wearing the same outfit every single day. How can you go through that without, you don't want it to be dirty clothes necessarily, but there's all sorts of different behaviors that happen and different ways that we can deal with that. And then the final week is problem solving. So it's working through different problems that you might be having with your loved one and kind of working through different strategies of how to work through those problems. So I really feel that this is a great class to start off with, and then go to the second class, which is the Dealing with Dementia class. So our Dealing with Dementia class, it is through the Rosalind Carter Institute for Caregiving, and it is designed to provide tips and strategies for caregivers on how best to take care of their loved ones. And the real focus on the Dealing with Dementia class is it's for you as caregivers and how to better support you. So a quote that is from the Rosalind Carter: caregiving for a loved one is a rewarding and loving experience. However, due to the physical and emotional demands of caregiving and the struggles specific to dementia care, caregivers often suffer high levels of stress and depression. And we saw that in the statistics that I shared earlier. So there are three goals that the Dealing with Dementia Caregiver Workshop is that we try to meet. The first one is to gain a better understanding of dementia. The second is to utilize strategies to effectively manage dementia behaviors. And the third is to develop habits of stress management and self care. And for me, that is the most important. I think that's what we really are finding is how much is put on caregivers of dementia loved ones. And we want to help alleviate and let you know that there's plenty of resources out there for you. So, this workshop is a 4 hour class. We also do it in two-hour classes. So depending on what works best for you. And then the best thing I think about this class is that you get this fantastic dealing with dementia guide. It has over 300 pages of information and it just helps walk you through the different problems that you might face every day. And this workshop teaches you how to use the guide so that you have reference for that all the time. So that's kind of it for the two classes that we offer. Like I said, I think they're great to take hand in hand. I would recommend taking the Dementia Dialogues first and then taking the Dealing with Dementia because it focuses more on you as a caregiver. But just great evidence-based programs that we offer here at Health Promotion. So we know that you as caregivers, how overwhelming and time consuming being a caregiver is, especially for dementia. So, like we stated before, Aging and Adult Services have some great resources for caregiver support. And Kathy Nelson is going to talk to us about that. So, I'm going to send it over to her.
Melanie, and thank you for that kind introduction, by the way. I've worked in caregiver support for about 15 years, but like many of you, when I was first starting as a caregiver, and I had a grandmother actually with dementia, um, I didn't know what I was doing and I didn't know how to find resources and I had no idea what was going on. So it wasn't until I started working here, and my grandmother passed about a year after that, that I started to learn that there were actually many wonderful things that we could access to assist us with caregiving. So I thought what I would do today, instead of making slides, was actually take you where we store our resources, walk you through our website, talk about all the different types of things that we offer. And I'm going to keep my chat channel open and try and watch for your chats as well. So if anybody has a question, Melanie and those guys, and they can let me know if there's a chat that I've missed or something, and they can ask the question. It's a very casual environment, so um, caregiver support has really morphed and grown over the years. There were a few things we offered in the beginning, and now we have a little bit more robust system. We also have some of our individuals here at what we call the caregiver transitions team that also help with the dementia classes. So that's really nice. So this is the normal aging and adult website. If you just look at this, you can see that we offer a number of things. Now, the reason why I want to point out the whole website to begin with before I jump into our caregiver support options is that because no caregiver needs just what caregiver support offers. You need everything we offer at Aging, from transportation assistance to health promotion classes to volunteers that might be able to come into the home so that you can get some extra respite. There's all of that. You may also have to place your person for a short time, so you may even need what we call an advocate or ombudsman. So I would really encourage you, besides just listening to caregiver support today, that you would go out and explore the whole Aging website. That will give you an idea on all of the options that are there because I know you're going to need them all. Another thing I'd really recommend that you do is write down and I'll put it in the chat channel later, but if you could write down 211 or 211utah.org, because anything we don't offer, that's where you're going to find everything else. So I just want you to know that that's there for you as well. In fact, I can just actually go show you. This is the 211 website, and I just want you to keep that as an option. because literally this lists every social service system that Utah offers across the entire state. So if you have family here, but you have them in neighboring counties and stuff as well. So just remember that website right there, 211, or you can dial 211. It works just like your 911. 911 is physical emergencies. 211 is your social service information for the state of Utah and actually every state in the nation. So whatever we talk about today, if it's not quite enough for you, I wanted you to have that other option that you can go to when we're done. All right, so if you see the aging website, you just go across here at the top, it'll talk to you about volunteering, senior centers. This is our 55 plus book here on the far left that my cursor's over, but that shows you where you can look at our book. I'll just show it to you. So you can search for categories. It's loading, but you can search for categories of things you need in aging as well there. And then of course you have these wonderful senior centers, and there's the links to all of those. Volunteering, we not only accept volunteers to assist us, but we also have programs that offer volunteers to come into the homes, and we work those programs as well. So here's this one on the far right, the little caregiver button. Looks so forlorn down there on the far right, but it's a really powerful little button. So I just want to explain what the Caregiver Support Program is at first. And I know some of you have a smaller screen that you're looking at on cell phones and other things. So I'll read some of this out loud for the benefit of everybody who's coming in from different technologies. So first off, know that the Caregiver Support Program is something that offers both things that you have to apply for and things that you do not have to apply for. You can just attend. So if you are someone who is 18 or older, who is caring for an older adult, or if you are an older adult caring for someone who's got concerns that's 18 or older, it switches both directions, then we have things that we can do to assist you. So caregivers, you have a lot of responsibilities without question. I mean, you deserve gold medals every day. If there was a in-home Olympics of some sort, I'm sure we could have you send in little videos and we just, give out medals. But I want you to know that there's a couple things we do. One, we do respite services. What this means, it's a brief period of relaxation and relief. So we do that for caregivers by assisting with in-home services for the person they care for, so that you don't have to do their work as well as the work in your own home. Now, the person does need to be in their own home. That can be an apartment, a house, a trailer, it doesn't matter. They don't have to own it. They just have to, have their own space. They can't be in like an assisted living or a nursing facility. So if someone is still in their own space, or even living in yours, that works as well. We can have you apply to come on to services. And what those services would be providing would be limited amounts of homemaking, a home health aid. We can help you pay for adult daycare. We also call that adult day services now. We have places like, okay, I just got a question across the top as well. Do you have Spanish speakers in all of this? And yes, a lot of the groups that we contract with to fulfill these services for us all have multiple lingual individuals that work there. So we have to actually find individuals that use a lot of languages, but Spanish is definitely one that's very prevalent in our area. So homemaking, adult day services, short-term stays in nursing homes, things like that. Just depends on what we have a contract for at the time. But if you have a need and we have a contract for it, we can work on that. Another thing that we provide is minimal supplemental services. That's also part of this first application that you would do. And that might be some supplies or equipment. That might be extra walker to travel with. It might be a transport chair. It might be depends or briefs. So there's, cleaning supplies during COVID were one of the things that we could help purchase, things like that. So these top two areas, that respite service and the supplemental services, they're the only ones that require an application because funds are used in your behalf. So anytime we have to use money in your behalf, then there has to be an application so the state of Utah knows how those funds were used. Now, the rest of our program does not require any kind of application. You can simply sign up for a course and come, and I will show you how to do all of that here in a minute. So you have information and assistance. What that means is we have a phone line, and it has a case manager that mans that phone line. So they know what it's like to set up services in a home. They know what it's like to tackle really tough challenges, and they will answer any of the questions that you have. So you could call that anytime between 8 and 5. If we don't pick up, it means we're on with other caregivers. So please just leave a message and we'll get back to you in order of the calls as quick as we can. So we also have things like monthly newsletters, the caregiver website, and other issues that are available for training and assistance. We have support groups, and I'll show you those, and we have consultations. So support groups are pretty standard, except ours are peer support groups, which means if one of our caregivers wants a certain subject and knows a specialist on it that we should invite in, then we'll actually coordinate to have that specialist come and speak to you all. It's whatever that particular group needs and wants at the time. That's what we organize so that it's very living and supportive to the actual group that's going. We don't set out 12 subjects in a year in advance and just expect you to want to show up to those subjects. We actually ask on a monthly or every other monthly basis what the next topic should be, and then we find individuals to support. And then we have this thing down here at the bottom that's called consults, and that's a really weird title. But a consult is a time when a case manager can either on the phone, on a webinar like this, one-on-one with a family, can actually sit and help a family work through the process that they're going through, help teach them about available resources, and get them up and running. Because maybe they don't need to apply for services with us, but they really just need to speak with someone who understands all the processes of caregiving. And so they can actually have a free consult. We just have to schedule those with available case managers. So those consults are available. So that's the kind of big picture stuff that we do. Eligibility is here. I'll let you explore that on your own later because I want to really get to the resources and calendars and other things we have for you. Just to let you know, we work with a lot of different diseases, chronic illnesses, and concerns for caregivers. So we have a very broad depth of knowledge about where a lot of resources are. So even as a caregiver, if you just have an odd question, you've tried to search it on the internet, you can't find it, or maybe you don't even have internet at home and you have a flip phone, by all means, use that flip phone to call us, and we'll help you try and find what you need. So we work with people with multiple types of dementias. Some of them are like frontal temporal, vascular dementia that's caused through a stroke. We also have dementias that are caused through prolonged and excessive use of alcohol. And we have what's called mixed dementias, where there might be not only a cognitive loss or an early Alzheimer's, but there might also be Parkinson's or something else that also has cognitive loss mixed in with it. So we have some pretty complex cases that we have to help people through. So resources, and this is going to be helpful to the individual to ask about the Spanish as well. I'm going to talk to you about resources, talk to you about even where we're going in the future so you can stay in touch with us. We try and make our resource page super simple, and it's got this little list of things that we can do. First off, I want to show you this calendar button at the top. Just going to go there for a moment. It will tell you everything that we or one of our partners is doing that might be really helpful for caregivers right now. And you will see that there are dementia classes and dementia-friendly activities. There's quite a bit with dementia on here because that's one of the harder diseases if you are working as a caregiver 24/7 in the home especially. It can get really difficult. So this calendar, we try and keep it completely up to date. If we find out that a support group is no longer working, we take that off so that you don't have to worry about that. So just keep in touch with that with us. Caregiver news every month. And since we were training on dementia this month and talking about it, we decided to do our caregiver newsletter on it as well. That way, if some of you from this class wanted to go out and look at other options, our entire newsletter this month was written on dementia assistance for caregivers. Now, does it take care of everything in dementia? Absolutely not. But what it does is it gives you an idea of who to call, who are the big individuals in what's going on, and they can help direct you toward maybe more local, other things that we may not be the experts in. So most of you know about Alzheimer's Association, but the newsletter also talks about Jewish Family Services, who has some online caregiver support groups. as well as dementia activities. They have music and memory and other things to assist you. We also have some fun things starting at the caregiver, not the caregiver, but the Salt Lake County and city libraries, which I think are really fun. In fact, just this last month, we got contacted by Salt Lake City Main Library, and they said, hey, we've created some memory care kits, and this is the way they spell it. And they said, we would like you to let the caregivers know that they're in there for checkout. And if they get used, we'll make more. Well, a week after the newsletter released, every one of them had been checked out of the library. So the library is now going to make more for the future. So there'll be lots of kits. Those kits are some really fun things. They have like movies, activities, different things around different subjects like transportation, music, outdoors, travel, and pets are their first 5. And then they're going to look at other subjects as well. So don't hesitate to check with your libraries, your local hospital. All of them are offering some really cool things. And then in the newsletter, we always have links to things like trials, behavior issues, calendars of other groups that are offering a lot of whatever our subject is in the newsletter. And this time it's dementia. And then we've also put, so if you want to print this off and have a copy at your house, specialized education for dementia care in the area. And this tells you when they were going to be in October. So we had Dementia Dialogues and Dealing with Dementia that were just mentioned. And then we also have Stress Busting for family caregivers of those with dementia. And then we have another one of that same group, Stress Busting for family caregivers of those with chronic illnesses and conditions. So, and then we talk about all the other kinds of training and support groups that we offer down here. So I just kind of wanted you to know that this newsletter will always have the very latest things that we're working on. And if you go to a training and it's something we're offering, it may offer more resources and stuff to you just in that section. Any
Hey,
questions so
Kathy.
far?
Oh,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Oh, I'm probably asking saying the same thing. We got a question in the chat asking, are the programs and classes only open to Salt Lake County residents?
No. We'll have to, with stress busting, if we have a couple openings and you're not in the county, we'd go ahead and let you in. Utah County or Mountain Land Association of Governments, which is MAG, also offers the stress busting program. So if we don't have room, you might be able to get a hold of that county and find space in their training as well. Because we're the only two that offer it in the state, if we do have openings, we'll let somebody join us. Now, the others, which are much more simple and that they run, I just accept anybody from anywhere. I've had, I think, people from 4 or 5 states on that want to chat about certain subjects. So I'll show you some of the other things we offer. Just to let you know, we offer emails as well. And here, if you look at this button, and I'll go back to it again, it says caregiver emails. In case you've missed a subject or you accidentally deleted your email and you wondered where it went, you wanted it again, we keep up to 1 actual year of emails in our system that link to the actual newsletter that came with it. So let's say you wanted to know about managing moods, but you didn't get it last month. Here's the managing moods email. We always have it connect to other resources. So it's just kind of fun to see that you can go in and get any of the last emails for the full last year. And that's kind of how you find your newsletters for the full last year as well. They're linked to those, so we don't have to store them on site. And then you can sign up for the emails if you want that in your email box every month. You just put your name. You don't even, you just, the email address is all that's completely required. So if you don't even want to put your name, you don't have to. You just put your email in there and subscribe, and then you'll be able to get those sent. We only send 2 a month, and we're really strict about that. So we send one the very first day of the month and one halfway through the month that has lots of kind of relaxation, respite ideas, or things about you as the caregiver instead of the education subject, which comes with the first one of the month. So then we have some tools for you to use as well. And some of these are in English and Spanish, and they will eventually be in other languages as well. We're working hard on that over this next year. So there's something we call the Managing Care Guide. And what it is it's 6 main chapters, or I guess I made 7 this time. Learning to manage care, identifying care abilities, involving family and others. And you can go anywhere in this book, but what's really fun about the book is it's actually a book full of tools that you can use. So if you're a caregiver and you need a tool at 2 o'clock in the morning to help figure something out so that your mind will calm down and you can go to sleep, you could actually go out here and print this down on your desktop on your from PDF, and you just save it as a book, and it'll come right down, and you can then print off anything you want from it to use in your home. They're not self-filling yet, but we eventually hope to go that direction. So there's that one. It's not only in English, but it's also in Spanish, Gestión de Cuidados, so that it's available for our Spanish-speaking population here in Salt Lake County as well. The book was also reviewed to make sure it was more culturally appropriate before it was actually translated as well. So that's a really great book. It's the same one for the English speaking. It's just tailored toward the Spanish community. So I want to show you a couple other resources as well, because really 90% of the time, you're not going to have your question when we're open. Caregivers are, my hat just goes off to you all the time. I sent you virtual hugs, just honestly today, because you have a lot of challenges on your plate, and most of them you think about at midnight or at 2 a.m. Or maybe you're wondering, how do I entertain Dad tomorrow? I am so tired. What can I do? Well, we even have this Creating Joy booklet that we just updated in time for this month as well. So it went from like 38 activities to almost 80. And we have different, and we put it into subsections this time. So if you know your dad's a historian or a cook, or he loves arts and crafts, or he likes to plan parties, or your mom really loves technology, or she's a romantic, you know, she always read Barbara Cartland novels when she was younger. You'll be able to find activities now by subject, which is really great. So it's all kinds of things that you can make and do at home very cheaply. Do it yourself. You can make, you know, World Discovery bags out of rice, Ziploc baggies, and a few kids' toys. I mean, there's all kinds of cool stuff you can do, not only for someone with dementia, but for any caregiver, because sometimes you just need fun to have with your parents. They're frail, but they don't have dementia, and they just want to do something fun with you and spend some time with you. And you're really tired of coming up with all these activities on your own. So, you know, there's how to plan perfect trips, dream worlds. I love this dream world one. It's really fun. You'll have to just go in and explore a lot of these activities. And then I want to show you one last chapter in the book that actually our partners down at Utah County suggested we add to the book, so we did. And it's really a valuable part of the book. And that is the reality of providing care for others, resources for less joyful moments. What happens if you can't find joy and the activities aren't working and you're really tired and you're really stressed? Well, this talks about that subject, asks you questions about how you're really doing and if you need help. I love some of these quotes too. It says, I will breathe, I will think of solutions. I will not let my worry control me. I will not let my stress level break me. I will simply breathe and it will be okay. It just walks you through different things. There's a journal for you to make notes as well when you're done. And there's all these resources that's listed in the book as well, specifically for stress and less joyful moments. So, you know, there's just so many things out here. And then we offer a number of types of trainings that you can explore. One is the Caregiver Academy. It's currently on hold probably until January, till we can meet again in person, because it has lots of really cool activities, which include things like hula hoops. And I know that sounds funny, but we have these great hula hoop sessions where we point out how stressful life can really be and how you're attached to so many things as a caregiver. And when they're all pulling you in different directions, it can get crazy. So the Caregiver Academy is a 6-part series, talks about the whole breadth of caregiving and what it's like and skills that you can use. We also have these caregiver talking points. Someone just asked that's an employee if they can get healthy lifestyle points for attending some of these. We have gotten permission for them for stress busting and stuff. Yes, I need to get to see if people can get healthy lifestyle points for caregiver talking points. We haven't quite gone that far yet because that's a brand new program. So some of them yes, some of them no on that question. So caregiver talking points, this was just what we had out for the rest of the year. We offered 2 a month. And so these were the subjects we were doing. These come with worksheets. So when you're done with the training online, which is an hour or less, it's usually 45 minutes to an hour, then you can very easily have the worksheet emailed to you the next day. I always send out the class the worksheet. You don't even have to take notes during class. You'll get the worksheet. You can fill it out and answer your questions the next day that are supported by class. So caregiver talking points are really great. It's kind of a mix between training and a support group because it's very interactive, and each of these subjects, we want to know how you feel about things. We want you to be asked questions in class. So it's very much a discussion like a support group would be. And then of course there's, I'll just show you the dementia one. There's 2 types of stress busting, but these are the 9 subjects. There's getting started in stress busting, effects on the mind, body, and spirit, caregiver stress and relaxation, challenging behaviors, grief, loss, and depression, coping with stress, positive thinking, taking care of you, healthy living, and then choosing a path to wellness. And you also, during this program, you get a book and you get links to website options for you to have free stress management techniques that you can use in the home. We also have them on CD and DVD in case somebody needed them like that right now that didn't have access to web at home. So we've got, I know I covered a lot today, but I just wanted you to see that the caregiving program here at Salt Lake County is very, very robust. So let me stop sharing. We can just chat. The caregiving program has, it's really dependent upon your story. We realize that no caregiver, even all of you that care with someone with dementia, are not going to have the same story. You're just not. Your family dynamics will be different. Your challenges will be different. Your economics will be different. Your ability to cope with stress in certain areas and environments will be very different. So each one of you really will want to get in touch with our program, really talk about your story, and figure out what we can offer each one of you. And that's what our main caregiver line is for, just to call in and start that conversation. We don't expect you to all be the same. And you will find that the majority of us that are working here as case managers are also caregivers at the same time for our own family members. So we are very understanding. I personally have a father with Parkinson's and a mother with heart conditions, and that brings some unique challenges. And I've had grandparents with cancer, Alzheimer's, whatever, just like all of you. We're as human as you are. And so when you call in, know that you're going to get somebody that understands the stress of all of this. And so I hope that helps today. And then we can just kind of open this up for questions if you need anything else.